Poker is a game for everyone. The cards don't care about your experience, your age, or your nationality. So that's why it's not that surprising to see a 26-year-old Frenchman with exactly 0 World Series of Poker cashes before this main event, leading the main event.
At some point, you just feel like you're the hope for France. You know you have to do your best, not only for you, but for the whole French community.
With 12 players left, Sylvain Loosely heads a fearsome group that includes Carlos Mortensen and J.C. Tran.
Let me hustle, not you. Is it my hustle or yours? I'm not betting you.
$8.3 million for first. Just 3 eliminations until we have our November 9. Bon chance.
Texas Dolly Brunson, who wrote the book.
He's moving in for the kill.
And there it is. Helmuth wins the championship.
Moneymaker puts his name amongst the greatest players in the game.
Wake me now.
Greg Merson is the main event champion.
Biggest day of my life.
Main event, day 7.
We are this close to knowing the 2013 November 9. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Rio. I'm Lon McCarran with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. 2 tables of 6 players. Our eventual champion is at one of them. Frenchman Sylvain Loosely has the inside track, but there's a lot of poker left. Spain's Carlos Mortensen in the middle of the pack, but there's nothing average about him.
Actually, I think he's about 5'10". That's pretty average.
It's been tough to figure out Canadian Marc-Etienne McLaughlin.
He's a tattoo artist with no tattoos. I can't figure him out.
An international top 3. Then Americans begin to fill out the rest. Jay Farber in 4th, J.C. Tran in 5th.
In 9th place, the man who has had 9 lives in this main event, the indestructible Rep Porter.
3 players on the outside looking in at the November 9.
Reese the Beast, the youngest left at age 23. These 3 players all in the red zone, each with less than 20 big blinds.
A very talented group at this stage of the main event. Perhaps no one as talented as that man, J.C. Tran.
Yeah, but I think he's also average height. I might even be taller than him.
Amir Lehavat, one of 4 bracelet winners left.
He's quiet, and he is lethal.
Each table playing with just 6 players, but there are more chips at this table. Easier to chip up, easier to bust out. Just ask Jay Farber.
Farber is sitting in poker's version of a rock and a hard place. Lehavat to his left, Tran to his right.
Tran is the 4th biggest stack at this table, but 5th overall.
JC will spend shorthanded play, taking flops out of position against a series of big stacks. Even he might want to play cautiously.
You can say goodbye to the orange 5K chips. The denominations are 25,000, 100,000, and 250,000. J.C. Tran with pocket aces under the gun.
Like a lot of winning poker players, he used to have a bad habit. He'd lose at everything else, betting sports, blackjack, pie gal. He doesn't do that anymore. He just wins at poker.
Blinds at 150 and 300,000, a 50K ante. There's a raise to 650 from Tran. Jay Farber, 8-7 of hearts.
The VIP host played virtually no hands the first couple of levels of day 7, and his patience has paid off. He's still here in the mix for the November 9.
A lot of people like this hand, and there is a call over to Amir Lehavat. A big stack with 28 million, Jack 5 of hearts. Amir thinking about it, but folds. On the button, Marc-Etienne McLaughlin with pocket 8s. Boy, short-handed especially, you love a pocket pair, but Tran's got the aces. Marc-Etienne with the call. Small blind Matt Reed. 10-9 off suit into the muck.
Well, sometimes a hand like aces actually requires a very cautious play, particularly post-flop. You tend to overvalue a big pair, and it can hurt you.
All right, 3 players. Tran's aces way ahead. The flop, king, deuce 6. Tran's aces are still best, first to act. Very safe flop, but he does play it cautiously. Norman, he listened to you. Maybe this is a start of something big. Maybe JC will be the first member of the Norman Chad poker team.
JC is just Chad poker.
Marc-Etienne, after Farber checked. McLaughlin with a pocket 8s, bets 875.
Well, we'll see here if he's just Chad poker or just check raising.
J.C. Tran with the hammer, with the pocket aces. McLaughlin's thought process may be correct. Nobody hit the flop, but JC's got aces, and he makes the call. Farber folds. So the two pocket pairs will see the turn. Almost $4.5 million in the middle. Turn card is another deuce. Tran with aces up now. Checks again.
Just Chad poker. JC content to check call the big hand. Kind of how he played queens versus Morgenstern back when there was a Morgenstern.
They both check. River card is an ace, and JC didn't need it, but it is comforting to wind up with aces full.
That's a good card for JC, but the only reason it's a bad card for him is it looks like the flush got there. It's going to make it harder for Mark Etienne to call.
JC, $2,650,000.
Mark Etienne thinks.
Looking at a paired board, 2 overcards and 3 clubs out there.
What you got, buddy?
Does he have to tell him? And is JC going to fall for this buddy stuff?
JC says, I'll show you if you call. But Mark Etienne folds, and JC will take another pot. And that pushes him past Jay Farber into 4th place overall.
You know, I think JC wants to show him he has aces full. I think JC wants to tell him he has aces full. I think JC is dying to show and tell him he has aces full.
We spoke earlier about the best stories to emerge from this main event. Carlos Mortensen and JC Tran are still in the hunt. But with 10 other players still remaining, surely, Norman, there are others who have caught your attention and keen eye.
Take your pick, tall and good-looking. David Benefield goes from online phenom to learning Mandarin to teaching us about the benefits of a balanced life. Mark Etienne McLaughlin runs successful businesses and runs successful bluffs. Jay Farber is a VIP host here in Las Vegas who might get to host his own championship party. I'm a big fan of this group. It's the group in here that I'm not so sure about.
Norman, can I talk to you outside for a minute? A World Series bracelet worthy of its own red carpet. And look at the gap Loosely has opened up at this feature table. Over $21 million more than David Benefield. All right, action on Loosely. Ace-Jack of hearts.
Loosely's got an I'm going to the November 9 look to him. I don't think he came all the way here from France to hang out at Bally's Paris and stare at the fake Eiffel Tower.
Actually, he lives in London right now.
I don't think he came all the way here from England to hang out at Bally's London and stare at the fake Big Ben.
Folded around to the big blind, Michiel Brimmelhouse. Jack-9 offsuit.
Brimmelhouse trying to become the first player from the Netherlands ever to make the main event final table.
Playing with just 18 big blinds, and he calls for 300,000 more, though fully dominated by Loosely. The flop is Jack 6-10, no hearts, a jack for both. Loosely with top kicker. Michiel checked.
We have 2 6-handed tables right now. Most home games are probably 6-handed, particularly with middle-aged guys who have trouble getting their wives to let them out of the house one night a week.
A bet of 750,000 from Loosely.
Brimmelhouse in a precarious spot here. He started this hand with only 18 big blinds.
Loosely betting into him with the better hand, but Brimmelhouse does have top pair. He's got a lot of those lavenders, Norman. A check raised to $2,125,000.
Good morning.
Loosely puts Brimmelhouse all in. Michiel calls, and this may be the last hand he sees at this main event.
Yeah, I guess Brimmelhouse couldn't fold at that point, but he is in big trouble.
I run good in the you too.
Loosely looking to add to his big stack and take us one step closer to the November 9.
89 world champ Phil Hellmuth looking on. Turn card, 8 of hearts outside of the 9. That's the best card Michiel could ask for.
7, I know for sure. I'm with him at the final table.
7 of hearts, right?
Queen is okay.
The lucky 7.
Queen, 9, or 7, or Michiel Brimmelhouse is whamboozled.
The river card is a 7. Brimmelhouse with runner straight to stay alive.
That's scary.
Sick.
Brimmelhouse is Dr. Run Good.
Loosely still with a big stack, but that win would have been sweet.
Whoa, so sick.
So sick, Lon.
You just know.
I just know. I just run too good here. I don't know. Just as you. We'll be there.
The problem is everybody still here has run insanely good. So at some point, somebody has to not.
At the end.
McKeel gets a gift on day 7. The 2013 World Series of Poker is brought to you by World Series of Poker Full House Pro on Xbox 360. Download poker's most authentic experience free on Xbox Live Arcade today.
Cool.
Everything going right for McKeel Brimmelhouse.
Wow. Good morning. Cool. I run good in all in.
One card from elimination twice and still here.
So you use your one time this time. No more one time.
Okay. I didn't say it. I didn't use it. It was just there.
Sometimes you know it's coming, you don't have to say it.
Yeah.
Porter knows all about that. So Brimmelhouse still with a keen interest in this graphic, the payouts. 12th place finish worth almost $575,000, which was what Brimmelhouse was about to receive. Now he's still in the hunt for the big money, Norman.
By the way, I've come up with a new rule for one-times on all-ins. Let's say you go all-in and get snap called. You can use your one-time and take it back. Never mind.
Wow, groundbreaking. Queen 10 for Benefield, a raise to $600,000. Loosely now with ace-jack of clubs.
I'm sorry, Benefield just opened with Queen 10 offline?
Yes.
That's not right.
Yeah, I know.
I'm flagging him for that.
Loosely with a call. Ryan Reese with queens.
When we were 10 players away from the money, Reese was all in with pocket queens against 10-8 on a jack-9-3 flop. His queens held, and here he is.
He's picked up some chips recently. And he says he wants to re-raise it to $2,225,000. He started the hand now with over $8 million.
Yeah, well, where does that leave Queen 10?
Yeah, Queen 10 is out of the hand.
What a fool he was.
Loosely now with ace-jack suited and a huge chip lead at this table.
Pretty good hand, ace-jack of clubs. Big stack. But he's a little out of position.
And what is Ryan Reese up to? And that gets a fold, and Ryan Reese takes it down without any pushback. That's worth $1.9 million new chips.
There's nothing beast-like about pocket queens on the button. That's easy. He'll be a beast when he re-raises with 8-6 offsuit.
You may be unimpressed, but back home, Ryan's got the full support of his family as he pursues his dream.
Most people don't know much about me. I'm more than okay with that.
We're in Waterford, Michigan right now, and this is where Ryan grew up. It's a special place for him.
You know, he went to the same high school that his dad went to, so that's always been, you know, a special thing for him.
Well, here is Our Lady of the Lakes, where I went to high school. It's a Catholic school. Sister Fran, she actually liked me a lot. I played poker here in homeroom every day. From here, I went to Card Sharks down the street, which is a charity poker room, and I dealt there and played there at the same time. Half of the money they make goes to charity, the other half goes to the people who own it. What's up, Johnny? I asked him, I was like, hey, what do you want to do with your life? And he said, I want to be a professional poker player. First time I ever played cash games was here. Our biggest goal is not only to achieve success for ourselves, but to show people that if you believe in it, you visualize it, it'll happen.
He's always been pretty confident. He sets his mind to something, and that's what he does.
He said, I'm going to graduate first, and then I'm just going to travel the world and, you know, just enjoy it. And maybe I can make some money along the way.
I'm 23 years old, and it's the first main event I played. Let's go, baby. Reese the Beast.
The kid is a Detroit Lions fan. He's endured enough. So let him pick up pocket queens on the button every once in a while. He deserves it.
The Beast supported at home and here at the Rio by, I guess, his Beastie Boys and girls. Action folded to Reese. Pocket nines.
He won $2,000 in his first online tournament while in college.
A raise to $600,000 to Rep Porter with King Jack of spades.
$600,000.
And he says all in for almost $6.5 million.
Porter pushes with 21 big blinds left. He's been running good. Rep knocked me out on day 2 of the World Series horse event this summer on a 3-outer, and he showed no remorse. I have not forgotten.
Mortensen in the big blind. Folds ace-jack.
6.5.
Now back to the pocket nines of Brian Reese.
And this is a challenging decision. for the Beast. He'd have to call off about 60% of his stack here. And then, of course, he'd be flipping against Porter.
Ryan Reese makes the call.
Tough call. And Rep Porter at risk again.
Rep Porter with 2 overcards to the pocket pair of Reese.
Good luck, Rep. Thank you. I know you'll win. I know you'll win.
He could take it back right now under my one-time rule.
That's right.
You got nines. You got nines. Nines, King Jack.
All right, so Rep Porter trying to get lucky one more time. 4-8 queen. Reese still ahead. The wrong paint for Porter in there.
It goes from a coin flip for Porter now to being a 3-1 underdog to stay alive.
River.
Turn card is a 5, bringing Porter to the very edge.
Reese poised for the knockout. Porter needs a king or a jack.
The river card is a 7. Reese will take the pot as Rep Porter has run out of chances at this main event.
Good game.
The 2-time bracelet winner with his second top 50 main event finish, so close to the November 9.
A very strong payday of over $573,000 for Rep Porter. And Ryan Reese with a dose of vigor and almost 18 million chips.
Applause one more time for our 12th place.
And a well-deserved salute of appreciation for Rep Porter upon his exit. Ryan Reese, who made the call of his life and then was rewarded. The November 9 is that much more real for this 23-year-old. Our last side action of the season, Phil Hellmuth, burrito maker.
What do you want? I had a horrible summer, and now the Rio's going to let me try out a few different new things. I need to make some money. I have 2 kids in college, so let's go see what it looks like.
Are you ready to work with Phil? Yes, let's do it.
I don't know. I don't want to screw up somebody's food.
Oh, this cheese?
Enjoy.
Phil, you're really doing a good job.
I overplayed my 2 10s. I had a bad summer. I got a job now.
Food, I'm hungry.
All right. I'm going. Dolly, what would you like, sir?
Cheese burrito.
I'm going to burn myself. I don't know what I'm doing. Dolly, you better play better than me or you're going to end up back here, like me. We got to take care of our extra special customers here.
Thank you, sir.
Doyle Brunson, I love you, but Dolly, you ordered a cheese burrito. Cheese! Where I'm from, they call that a quesadilla.
Eric Lindgren on the left, 5 cashes and a bracelet this summer. Phil Hellmuth, never a player of the year, as Lindgren was, but he had a final table this year. Pocket nines for Benefield. He opened it up for $600,000, folded 2 Bremmelhaus with King Jack.
Benefield credits Phil Galfond and former housemate Tom Dwan for helping improve his game the most.
Bremmelhaus makes the call, heads up. 5-handed at this table, 6 players at the other. Trey, Queen, King, top pair for Bremmelhaus. And he checks it.
Benefield also friends with Craig Marquis, who was 9th at the 2008 main event. Benefield finished 73rd that year.
Pre-flop raiser checks back with what is now a very weak pair of 9s, 8 of clubs.
Bremmelhaus was 25th in chips out of 27 when we started day 7. Benefield was 27th out of 27, yet both still here with a shot at the November 9.
And just looking at that shot, it seems Carlos Mortensen's been card dead lately. $1,050,000 from Bremmelhaus.
When he was living with Tom Dwan, Benefield says just sweating Dur online was an education in itself.
Now Benefield, how much does he believe the Dutch pro? Oh, not much.
Yeah, that Dur education not paying off right here.
4 of hearts on the river, so top pair remains just that for McKeel.
Dur would have hit a 9 on the river.
David might be feeling a little better about his pocket nines after Bremmelhaus checked the flop. And McKeel looks to lead out here on the river, $2.25 million.
Bremmelhaus bets about 60% of the pot. Benefield beflummoxed. Welcome to my world, son.
Big moment for Benefield.
Use a little sip.
King Jack.
Ooh, I think that was the wrong bottle of water. He does make the call, and McKeel Brimmelhouse got paid off.
Yeah, Brimmelhouse took the risk of checking that flop, and it earned him 2 streets of value. That's kind of like buying an expensive ring, hoping the marriage works out. You might have just given someone you don't like much the most expensive gift of their life.
David bumped down to 10th place now.
Disaster.
Well, short of disaster, but David not happy with how he played that hand. He does have plenty of good things going on in his life. He's back at school, producing movies, learning Mandarin. The kind of guy that you'd like to bring home to mom.
During his online phenom days, he was part of the Ship It Holla Ballers crew. There's a good book about those guys, in particular Benefield and Andrew Roble, called Ship It Holla Ballers by Jonathan Grodenstein and Storms Reback.
To the secondary table, J.C. Tran holds pocket 4s in the small blind. Jay Farber, the big blind, just 3-bet with ace-king of diamonds, making it $1.2 million more to J.C.
When Farber sits like that, he just doesn't look like a VIP host.
Jay, how much you got behind?
24 to start.
24 total?
To start the hand, yeah.
Almost even stacks. J.C. Tran makes the call.
J.C. probably preferred to play a small pot. Now he's going to play a big pot.
Heads up between J.C. with $8 million in poker earnings and Jay Farber with about $2 grand in poker earnings. That gives Farber a wheel draw and a flush draw. J.C. is open-ended.
That's a big drawing flop, Lon. When I was in the joint upstate, that usually produced the biggest pots.
The $8 million man checks his draw. Farber with chips.
And Farber sometimes has trouble moving his arms because they are so big.
Jay Farber with a continuation bet of $2,350,000.
Fun fact for you, China is known for its so-called 4 great inventions: paper-making, the compass, gunpowder, and the continuation bet.
That might be the most ridiculous thing you've ever said on the show. J.C. Tran now. Needs an ace or a 6 to make his straight. Farber needs a 4 for his straight. J.C. calls.
J.C. does so many things right at the poker table. When he's out of position, he's not playing big pots without a big hand. He's very aware of where he's at.
7 of spades on the turn. Tran still with the best of it, and he checks again. Farber checks as well.
Farber says no.
8 of spades misses both. The pocket 4s are good for J.C. Tran. And he checks. Farber checks back, will not challenge J.C. here, and J.C. will take the pot.
Farber frustrated.
Can't you just make a set?
Farber took a free turn card, then decided not to bluff the river, and he's thinking twice about that now.
Yeah, Jay maybe could have strong-armed that pot from J.C. Tran, who now is over $30 million. Maybe you never heard of J.C. Tran, but like others before him, the main event just might make him unforgettable. 11 players left, and J.C. Tran is the one to beat.
With 11 players left, the feeling in the Amazon room is different than it was last year. As you might remember, Norway's Elizabeth Hill and France's Gail Bowman dominated the conversation as we headed towards the final table. Everyone wondered, would a woman make the final for the first time since Barbara Enright in 1995? Would 2 women make it? Ultimately, they did both bubble, much to the disappointment of many in the poker community. Tonight, the focus is on the pros. Can the 2001 main event champion Carlos Mortensen take an improbable shot at a second main event title? Will J.C. Tran have a chance to add to his bracelet collection? 11 players are left as the final table bubble approaches.
The numbers game at this stage is simple. Only 9 will get in, and that means Matt Reed and Mark Newhouse are on the outside looking in right now.
No one wants to bubble this final table. Dean Hambrick, Jordan Smith, Brandon Stephen, John Hewitt, and Gail Bowman, the 5 November 9 10th place finishers. It's the list you don't want to make.
Ryan Reese opened for $800,000 with Queen 9 suited. Carlos Mortensen in the big blind with Jack Deuce of hearts. And Carlos wants to play for $400,000. He makes the call.
Carlos defending with Jack Deuce. No one's stealing his blind.
The flop. 7 queen deuce, both pair up. Bottom pair for Carlos, top pair for Reese. Carlos checks.
Well, one bad thing leads to another for Carlos. Perfect example, 1988 led to 1989 for me. Carlos shouldn't be in the hand in the first place, Lon. Flopping bottom pair should get him in trouble.
Ryan Reese is going to make him pay a little more, 675.
Carlos's chip stack looks like a game of Jenga gone wrong. Not his finest work, in my opinion.
Mortensen calls with the smallest piece of that flop.
Sure, you need to play a lot of pots five-handed, but you also don't want to spew. It's kind of like, you know, you have to jump into a cold pool to get going, but man, it's cold in there.
King of hearts on the turn. Reese still good. Carlos checks again. Reese checks back, a free river card for both. River card is a jack, and Carlos Rivers jacks up to steal it.
Really? Here's my pro analysis, Lon. Carlos is sleeping with angels.
A bet of 1.4 million. And a quick call from Reese with only a pair of queens. And those are some very helpful chips making their way to the 0-1 champs bank.
I don't know how the Matador won that bullfight. He didn't have a cape or a sword.
You see Mortensen's wife Pastora among the cheering section. Carlos with almost 13 million.
Carlos living dangerously.
Can he make it back to a second main event final table? Well, you see Matt Reed is on his feet at the secondary table, and by the look on his face, it's not good news for the Ohio semi-retired pro. He's all in with King 4, called by the pocket queens of J.C. Tran.
Reed pushed with 13 big blinds. He needs help to stick around.
J.C. trying to knock out Reed and get us 10-handed. 8-9-4. Reed picks up bottom pair. The queens are still good for J.C.
Bottom pair, that's a start. J.C. Tran seems unconcerned with Matt Reed's fate.
Turn card now. The 8 of diamonds does Reed no good.
Tran an 89% favorite to finish Reed off. Reed needs a king or a 4.
And the river card is a 9, sending Matt Reed to the exit after a tremendous run in this main event.
And Reed was 89th at the 2010 main event and now 11th in 2013. Well done.
He'll earn over $573,000. JC keeps building his stack. He's over 40 million now.
You're too good, kid. You're too good.
10 players, 1 table when we come back. Welcome back. It's the biggest bubble in all of poker. 10 players left at the 2013 main event. 9 make the final table in November. Everyone looking to accumulate chips, but they also just want to survive. J.C. Tran with a 10 million chip lead over Mark-Etienne McLaughlin. J.C. has more than 20% of the chips in play. Mark Newhouse looking for a main event miracle.
Newhouse with just 5 big blinds. The clock is ticking on him.
There you see the payouts for the remaining players. A $7.8 million difference between next out and last one standing.
If you finish 10th, that's the most disappointing $500,000 you'll ever make.
A redraw has brought all 10 players to this table. All get new seats except Carlos, who actually drew the same seat he was in. Sylvain Loosely on the button, queen 4, and a raise to 800,000. Brummelhouse folds a small blind. Newhouse in the big with ace 6.
It's an ace, 5 big blinds. It's an ace, 5 big blinds.
It is the bubble, though.
Yeah, in his defense, it's a November 9 bubble. When those chips are gone, you're gone. He should think about it.
And he's all in. And a quick call from Loosely. And Newhouse with the best of it pre-flop.
Queen 4 versus ace 6. 9 guys at this table rooting for a queen or a 4. Carlos Mortensen, 1 elimination away from getting to the final table and a chance for a second main event title.
Everyone here on their feet. This could be it right here.
Newhouse was the chip leader earlier on day 7, but he's been a short stack now for a while.
All right, here's the flop. And there's an ace for Newhouse to increase his advantage. Loosely did pick up bottom pair. Turn card a 9 keeps Newhouse in the lead.
With a river queen or 4, Sylvain Loosely would send Mark Newhouse home on the November 9 bubble.
Much of the crowd rooting for Loosely just to end it now. Let's get to 9. River card. 7 of hearts, and we remain 10-handed. Newhouse remains the short stack, but remains. Will be air out of that balloon.
What a sweat, eh?
Man. Breathe, kid, breathe.
Huh?
Breathe.
Hey.
That's right. Hey, air's free, bro. Breathe.
Okay, man.
Newhouse can smile with 12 big blinds, and he can breathe.
A very small hit to Luce Lee, who remains in 4th place with 10 players left. Mark Newhouse with an even $5 million now. In an interview, Newhouse candidly told us about his poker priorities.
For me, money is more important than recognition. I've been through all the fame and, you know, being known as a good player, having respect. That stuff's not really worth very much to me.
And through his ups and downs, Newhouse credits Joe Cassidy and 1996 main event champ Huckleberry Seed for getting his head straight.
Newhouse and actually most of this table are no strangers to this stage of a tournament. Obviously, the main event is unique. The majority of these 10 have made big final tables either at the World Series or WPT. Experience is so critical. Under the gun, Mark Etienne McLaughlin, ace-queen offsuit. Second in chips behind Tran right now. A raise to 850.
Under the gun raise with ace-queen on the bubble at a 10-handed table? Get it fixed!
You got to get your poker code in print ASAP, Norman Chat. Fold it around to Ryan Reese on the button with ace-queen off.
It's the same hand, Lon.
Yeah.
We must be at least 75 feet from the table, and I can see that from here.
McLaughlin with an under-the-gun raise. Now Reese with the best position at the table makes the call.
Come on the button with ace-queen, calling after someone under the gun is raised? Get it fixed!
Mortensen in the small blind. He folds. Big blind folds.
How much you started with? How much you started the hand with? 18 roughly. 18. Maybe a little less.
I don't like either hand. I believe the pot should be redistributed to the other 8 players.
Well, let's see if your ace-queen never wins. Hold up here, Mr. Chad.
They both will lose.
There is a queen for both.
Well, see, top pair, top kicker for both, Lon. Neither can win the hand outright if they both stay in. Ace-queen never wins, even when it does.
Well, guaranteed a chop at showdown if it gets there. McLaughlin has the action. $1,000,001.
Reese and McLaughlin have tangled a few times on day 7. I don't think this is good for Canadian-U.S. relations.
The percentages tell the story, but this game is about so much more than the card you're dealt. There's a call from Reese. Turn card. King of Hearts. Mark Etienne.
Reese is looking at Mark Etienne, wondering where the tattoos are.
2 big stacks with 10 players left with the same hand. And McLaughlin keeps firing. $1,700,000.
Actually, this hand could end up with 1 ace-queen winner and 1 ace-queen loser. Who's got more moxie?
Well, let's see if Reese can live up to his nickname. A lot of those almond chips, Norman, and there's a raise to $3.8 million.
Oh, there's some Michigan State moxie. The Beast advertising a bigger hand than he has here.
This 23-year-old seems to be one very cool customer. Mark Etienne McLaughlin can afford the call. Does he want to afford the call? No, he'll lay it down. And with that well-timed aggression, Reese takes a pot that really should have been split.
All ace-queens are not created equal.
2 players, same hand, 1 winner. Let's hear what Antonio Esfandiari and Phil Walk thought about Reese's play.
One can only imagine the pressure that comes with getting so deep in a tournament that started with over 6,000 people, now down to 10. There's a huge difference between 10 and 9. I've never been in this spot before. Phil, you'll probably never be in this spot. And so Mark Etienne and Ryan, they both have the same hand, but one has a little more courage than the other.
Ryan shows that courage with that raise in the turn. It's not a traditional line in any way, but basically he's saying, hey, there's another bet coming. And Mark Etienne says, well, I don't want to be there for it.
Right, and I think that if this was a regular poker game or maybe another tournament with a lot more people left, not the massive from 10 to 9 to the final table, I think that there's a very good chance that Mark Etienne would have actually called. So you have to take everything into perspective.
Young Ryan Reese with a beast-like timely raise to take down a pot with the skill of a seasoned pro. Tonight's bracelet moments are presented by PokerNews.com. Guy Laliberté's one-drop charity has done wonders for the World Series, and in 2 events this year, more goodwill was spread. 23-year-old UCLA graduate Brian Yoon defeated a field of nearly 5,000 to win the $1,111 Little One for one drop. And in the $111,111 one-drop high roller tournament, it was Tony Gregg who won the bracelet and over $4.8 million. Tony Gregg's score, the second biggest of the 2013 World Series of Poker. The main event, of course, is the biggest. Longtime pro J.C. Tran on top at the moment.
And let me give props to my Maryland boys, good friends Greg Merson, Tony Gregg, and Christian Harder. Merson, the main event champ last year. Gregg, the one-drop high roller champ this year. And Harder with 4 straight main event cashes. 3
players saw a flop. J.C. with top pair, bad kicker. Farber, top pair, a better kicker. Carlos Mortensen with a Broadway draw. Tran bets $1,525,000.
Farber says he's sometimes perceived as a loose and crazy player because of the way he looks, but as we know, he plays it pretty snug.
With JC on one side, Carlos on the other. Farber in a very tough seat here. And he commits the chips for a call. And now Carlos Mortensen with a Broadway draw. And Carlos taking a little off the top, a little off the lower level. And that's a call.
Carlos is mystifying me tonight, and I know it's absurd that I'm questioning him, but I didn't like him playing that jack deuce from the big blind, and I don't know why he didn't re-raise pre-flop here. The hand probably would have been over.
8 of diamonds on the turn. Tran picks up a gut shot. Carlos missed his draw.
Carlos should note the Norman Chad School of Poker does have some adult ed classes.
$8.2 million in the middle. The next player out is the main event final table Bubble Boy. Tran bets $3,150,000. And now Farber, still best with a stronger queen.
Call.
Makes the call. Mortensen now. Can he continue? He does get out of the way. So heads up now, Tran and Farber. Farber with the best of it right now. River card, 6 of diamonds. JC misses his draw, so it's Farber with a better kicker and the best hand. JC checks. Farber checks, and Jay Farber will take a nice pot from the chip leader.
A nice pot for King-Queen.
Jay Farber jumps into 4th place with his brand new total of over $25 million. OJ.
I don't think those lyrics are by Ira Gershwin or Jay-Z.
JC got pipped to the tune of $5.5 million. Jay Farber would love the money, but the jewelry would be nice too.
I think once you get this far, yeah, the money's nice, but the bracelet's there, the title's there, and everybody wants to be world champion, or else why would you be in the event? You know, once you see the end in sight, you just want to get the prize.
What's the retail value of that bracelet, Lon?
About $500,000.
Ooh, I'll just pick one up used online.
That is more than most of the winners get along with their bracelet during the World Series of Poker summer. All right. Carlos Mortensen under the gun. Ace-Jack of diamonds. And Carlos with a raise to $1 million even. I mentioned the impressive array of experience boasted by this final 9, but only Carlos has been this deep, of course, in a main event before. Tran folds.
On this bubble, it's like you really don't want a hand. You just want it to be over.
Sylvain Loose Lee gets out of the hand. So Carlos's raise makes a clean around the table to Ryan Reese with pocket kings.
What are you back? 8. Total.
Supposed to have him behind?
Yeah. I'm just guessing here, but I doubt Carlos and Ryan have a lot in common.
Reese bound to raise it up, but how much?
All in.
He re-raises Mortensen all in.
Big moment here for Carlos Mortensen on the November 9 bubble. Call, and he's in trouble. Fold, and he fights on with 17 big blinds.
Carlos's pain mirrored in the face of his wife. Mortensen, the oldest at the table, being tested by the youngest at this table. And Carlos does lay it down.
Reese building, Mortensen withering.
Nearly $26.5 million for the Beast now. A little easier to play Bubble Bully with Pocket Kings. Mortensen slips to 9th place, but it could have been much, much worse for the 0-1 champ. As the final table bubble approaches, Carlos Mortensen moving dangerously close to being the one left behind. The 2013 World Series of Poker is brought to you by the WSOP online store dealt by Lids. For poker equipment, gear, and gifts, visit WSOP.lids.com today. A who's who of the poker world in attendance. Jesse Sylvia and Ben Lamb right there. You saw Michael Mizrachi earlier, Huck Seed, Eric Lindgren, Phil Hellmuth. At the table, the two most accomplished players bookend the leaderboard. J.C. Tran on top, Carlos Mortensen the short stack. Mortensen has the action. Ace-9.
If Mortensen wins this thing, it'll be the second longest stretch between main event titles ever, 12 years. Stu Unger went 16 years between his second and third main event bracelets in 1981 and 97.
And that's a min raise to $800,000 from Carlos.
Another Phil Hellmuth-esque odd play from Carlos. 13 big blinds and a min raise? Most pros likely raise all in there if they're playing it.
The raise gets around to the big blind. J.C. Tran 8-7 off.
Tran not with much, but the min raise invites him in, getting nearly 5-1 on a call here.
And there is the call. Heads up, Mortensen and Tran.
Two double bracelet winners, heads up on the bubble.
Top and bottom of the leaderboard represented. Trey 10-6, a gut shot to a 10-high straight for J.C. Carlos still with the best hand with just ace high. Tran checks. Mortensen with another $800,000.
The Matador continues his odd defensive stabbing at this pot. Another small bet, and JC again doesn't have much, but he's getting nearly 4-1 on a call here.
And that is a call. Turn card now, 9 of clubs. How Tran turns the straight. Carlos pairs up while collecting the nut flush draw.
What a nasty, nasty card for Carlos. Second pair in the nut flush draw, and he's in awful shape now.
All in.
Tran puts Carlos all in.
If Mortensen folds it, he's left with just 9 big blinds.
Cool. Carlos makes the call, and he needs help with just one card to come. We could have our bubble boy.
Carlos doesn't even want to turn over his hand. I'm shocked, Lon. It's as if Carlos led JC right to that straight, and now the man Phil Hellmuth calls the best tournament no-limit hold'em player of his generation is about to inexplicably bubble this final table.
Mortensen on the chopping block. Tran looking to score the knockout and be the leader of this year's November 9.
Mortensen needs a club other than the 7, which gives Tran a straight flush, or our November 9 is set.
The river card, the deuce of diamonds. Mortensen falls just short of a second main event final table.
Boy, he was so good for so long here. I don't think we saw the best of Carlos Mortensen on this November 9 bubble.
Carlos Mortensen accepting his congratulations. Those who stayed with him to the very end taste the bitterness of his defeat as well. Carlos's exit leaves 9 worthy souls to battle for the World Championship. Newhouse and Benefield slip in as the 2 short stacks. J.C. Tran will head to the final table as the chip leader. The Beast will be there. And this atmosphere is just a warm-up for what's to come at the Penn & Teller Theater for the final table. When we return on November 4th on ESPN2, J.C. Tran will be top dog. Jay Farber might fill the place on his own, but tonight belonged to J.C. Tran.
So many of these players were on the edge. Great job getting here. Meanwhile, J.C. Tran was on autopilot down the stretch.
In a journey that saw thousands fall.
Oh, yeah, man.
Good game.
Good game, man. You got me covered, don't you?
I was right. If I call, you need a queen. You used to.
No.
Chip leaders get tossed by the wayside.
Call. Listen.
Good game, guys. Good game.
And a former main event champ gets stuck on the bubble.
Very disappointed. I could have changed some of my play, but it is always another year, you know.
9 players have emerged.
It's kind of starting just to sink in right now. It hit me like a couple minutes ago. It's incredible.
I'm just really happy. I'm really excited to have a chance to, you know, win the World Series main event. It's crazy.
But just one has earned the title of chip leader.
I did it. I did it. I did it for everybody at home, my wife, my son.
J.C. Tran and 8 others will return on November 4th and 5th to take aim at $8.3 million and the most coveted piece of jewelry poker has to offer, the main event bracelet. The regular season is over. Time for poker's playoffs. For Norman Chad and Kara Scott, I'm Lon McCarran. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.